Welcome to Common Sense. Common Sense is a series of shows that feature interviews with interesting people in our area and will say in a clear, concise, and direct way uh, who these folks are, what they do, and what is making sense to them and what doesn't. Uh, Today, I'll be interviewing uh, the wonderful, compassionate, and generous Pam Ohradzansky, Executive Director of Community Resource Services and Vice President of the Avon Lake Board of Education. Uh, and thank you for your service, Pam.
Oh, you're welcome.
Uh, Now, Pam, why don't you start us off and tell us some of your background,
Sure.
where you were born, where you've lived,
Sure.
how you've come to Avon Lake?
Okay. So I was actually born in Cleveland, although my family moved to Columbus, Ohio, when I was pretty young. So I tend to call Columbus my hometown.
Okay.
I lived there for all through high school. I graduated from Upper Arlington High School, and then I went on to Miami University. After I graduated from Miami, I moved to Chicago. I lived there for 5 years at my first post-college job.
Okay.
And while we were there, or while I was there, I married my college sweetheart, John.
Oh.
Yeah, so we lived there for 2 years together. At the point where we decided we wanted to settle down and raise a family, we knew we didn't want to live in Chicago anymore. So
Okay.
I was from Columbus, he was from Cleveland. He actually graduated from Westlake. And so we thought, well, let's look at a job in one of those two places. So we ended up in Columbus, but then shortly after we moved there, he was transferred up to Cleveland.
Cleveland.
So we bought a house. My son was 6 months old, and we bought a house in Avon Lake, and we've lived here ever since. For 28 years, we've lived here in Avon Lake.
Okay. Tell me, Pam, why is it important to become involved in charitable or community-related activities?
You know, there are just so many wonderful organizations that have pretty amazing missions, and, finding one that fits with what you believe in is just, it's a really rewarding thing, both for the volunteer, but also for the organizations. Some of these organizations rely very heavily on their volunteers and on financial support. So, I was actually raised by parents who volunteered quite extensively.
Okay.
So I got to see firsthand what a difference it makes, both for the organization and the community as a whole and the people who live there.
Okay, so it's in your genes.
It is in my genes. It is in my genes, and I hope that I passed it along to my children because I do believe how important it is
Okay.
to support organizations.
How do you set limits on your activities? I'd like that answer for myself.
Yeah, well, it is hard to say no, especially when you feel passionate about something. I think the main thing is just really trying your best not to overcommit yourself, because you want to do a good job when you make a commitment to an organization. The good thing for me is I was a stay-home mom until my kids were in high school, and so I was really involved in their school activities through the PTA and with their little league sports and swim team things. And so really it was kind of a win-win, because I was doing something that I loved, but I also was getting to spend time with them. I'll never forget the time I was at a Learwood PTA meeting, and my son came up to me after school and he's like, "Mom, I could hear you laughing all the way down the hall." And I thought, you know what? That's not a bad thing, that he
No.
knows I'm there.
Understand. What prompted your interest in CRS, and when did that interest start?
So back when my kids went to Westview,
Okay.
and I'll never forget, some of my friends were doing some kind of coat drive, and it was to benefit CRS, and that was the first time that I ever heard of CRS. And then from that point on, it just became another organization that I volunteered my time for. At first, it was just a little bit. I was on like the charity ball committee, and I was a substitute for the front desk volunteer. But that's how I originally became familiar with CRS, and I attended the charity ball every year. So
Understand. How did CRS get started? Do you know about that?
I do. So CRS was founded in 1988. It was founded by some neighbors or residents of Avon Lake who just wanted to help their neighbors who were struggling financially. So that's how it started, and it's really just evolved into a much more an organization that really provides a lot of different types of assistance.
What is the motto and mission statement for CRS?
Sure. So, Community Resource Services is a responsive, community-based organization whose mission is to diminish the effects of poverty in Avon and Avon Lake. We provide basic needs assistance and individualized resource and referral services in a compassionate and confidential manner. We believe in a community where every resident is free from poverty.
Understand. What are the ultimate goals of CRS?
So, the ultimate goal of CRS is to not be in existence
Right.
anymore.
Put you out of
You know,
business.
to really realize our vision of every resident not needing assistance.
Okay. Where is CRS located, and what are the hours that they have?
So CRS is located in the Beach Park Station Shopping Center. It's the same shopping center where the Avon Lake Post Office is, but we are up front. We are right next door to the Doghouse Bar and Grill. We are open Monday through Friday from 10 to 2, except during the summer. We are closed on Fridays between Memorial Day and Labor Day. But we have a voicemail system, so anybody can call 24/7, and we will return the call as soon as we get into the office the next
Right.
time.
Are those hours changing now?
No, they're pretty set, but we are very flexible. I mean, if we have a lot of working clients, and you know, sometimes it's hard for them to get here. So we have some other options for those kinds of situations. We're happy to meet someone, for example, at the library, or we do deliver groceries, especially to our working families.
Understand. Tell us what functions you perform for CRS.
So I started working here in 2010, and I wore two different hats. I was the bookkeeper
Okay.
and the special events coordinator. And then over the next 9 years, you know, I just really learned the ins and outs of all the different jobs here at CRS. And so in 2019, when the director job became available, it seemed like a good fit for me. I felt like I was pretty well qualified for that job.
Okay. Well, tell us what the major CRS activities are, and you know what programs you have.
So our biggest program is our on-site food pantry.
Okay.
You know, anybody who lives in Avon or Avon Lake can come for food from CRS, from our food pantry. The neat thing about our food pantry, though, is that it also, as you can see behind me, we have toiletries and cleaning supplies and paper goods, things that are not covered by food stamps.
Understand.
We also provide financial assistance. So we can help with emergency expenses for things like rent, car repairs, utilities, school fees, gas cards, you know, for people who need to get to their doctor's appointments or take their kids to, you know, their activities or whatever. And we also provide resources for clothing and household items, things like that.
All essentials
Yes,
for folks.
very much, very much. But we also have some really, really wonderful seasonal programs.
Oh, okay.
So everything from Easter baskets for kids to Mother's Day gifts. We have food baskets that are special for Easter and Thanksgiving that also include a gift card to maybe purchase a turkey or a ham. Our back to school backpack readiness program is really a phenomenal program. Students can receive a brand new backpack filled with all of the school supplies that they need to start off their year successfully, but they also get a gift card to Old Navy for new school clothing and a gift card to Walmart for any other incidentals that we may not have, or just like socks and underwear or something like that. One of the seasonal programs that I'm most proud of, though, is our holiday assistance program for Christmas. So we don't do a traditional adopt a family where one family gets adopted by a donor. We actually set up off-site Santa's Workshop. And we stock Santa's Workshop with toys and coats and pajamas, hats, and our parents get to come through and pick out items that they know that their child will like.
Yeah.
And each family also gets something called a family basket. This is a program that we started a few years ago. And the family basket is basically a gift for the household. It could be anything from a basket filled with board games and some microwave popcorn and boxed candy to brand new bathroom towels and, soap dispenser, or maybe like a baking basket where it's like new baking or cookie sheets and measuring cups and sprinkles and frosting and cookie mix and cupcake mix so that the family can make those things together. We also have our Be a Santa to a Senior program. And we will collect things to give to our senior citizens in a little gift basket that could be, specialty chocolates or, luxury lotions and soap, crossword puzzle book, tea, things like that we think that our seniors would like. And I might add that all of the items for all of those the Christmas programs are all generously donated to us from individuals, churches, businesses and organizations, just overwhelming support for that program, just so that our clients' families can have a really nice Christmas as well.
It sounds like a much more intelligent way to distribute.
Yeah, we think so, and it's more in line with our mission, rather than just shopping for a family for Christmas presents and you really don't even know what they would want, whereas the parents really know what their children would like.
Zero in on their
Yeah,
needs.
exactly.
Okay. Give us some details of your accomplishments,
Sure.
family served, that kind of thing.
Sure. So I do have some statistics here from 2020, the first complete year that we had, which was a funky year, as we all know.
You bet.
But anyways, we served 442 households, and those households were made up of 1,177 individuals, or 146 senior citizens, 518 adults, and 513 children. We distributed over 105,000 pounds of food from
Incredible.
our food pantry. We spent about $170,000 in financial assistance. That was an increase of 22% over 2019.
Wow.
And then just some other little statistics. So utility disconnections, we prevented 172 utility disconnections, totaling $36,554. And we also provided rent or mortgage assistance 183 times for $64,000. 192 children participated in our Back to School Backpack program. 311 kids were part of our Christmas Santa's Workshop program.
No, that's just wonderful that you've been able to do all that.
Thank you.
How does someone qualify for help from CRS?
So we have a few different ways that you can qualify for services. One of the most important things is that you have to be a resident of Avon or Avon Lake. We also have an income qualification, and so we qualify families at 200% of the federal poverty guideline. So they have to make at or below 200% of the federal poverty guideline. And just to give you an example, for a family of four, that's $53,000. We also qualify people for circumstance. So if there was a household loss of income of more than 50% due to a job loss or a medical catastrophe or some other major expense where it was a very, very severe hardship on the household income, we will qualify them under a circumstance.
How many staff and volunteers do you have within the organization here?
So we have one full-time director, that's me, and then we have 6 part-time staff members, and we have over 200 volunteers.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
I can see why people would volunteer. How has COVID affected your operations?
Yeah.
I know
So,
we've
yeah.
all suffered.
Yes, we all have suffered. COVID definitely had an impact on our operation and continues to do so. Our ability to provide services was not interrupted at all. We just had to do things differently. So our lobby has been closed since middle of March 2020, but we have right from the beginning we've offered grocery pickup. We also started a delivery service for groceries for people who were afraid to leave their homes. All financial assistance has been done over the telephone. Just an aside though, all of the bad things that happened during the last 18 months, there was really a bright side of it too. I really realized the compassion and the support that CRS is the beneficiary of from the community members in Avon and Avon Lake. I mean, we were just overwhelmed with donations, both in kind and monetary. There were food drives, organizations and businesses having food drives, donations that were dropped off at our back door. I mean, every few minutes that doorbell would ring, people who just wanted to feel like they were doing something to help. And I think that, having a local food pantry and local financial assistance agency was really just important to some people to support. And we were very fortunate.
Rather than contributing to people they don't know or organizations they don't know or are not familiar with.
Yeah. I've told people over the years that they may be helping a student who is in class with their own child. It's that close to home.
Understand. Do you need more volunteers? Would more volunteers help?
So we always need more volunteers. So we have a really awesome regular group of volunteers. And not that there's not turnover, but we have weekly volunteers who do everything from answer the phones, pack up groceries, process the donations that come through the back door, or just help us keep the office clean. But we also have seasonal volunteers, people who are on, for example, the Charity Ball committee. The other big one is that we are the service unit for the Salvation Army for Avon and Avon Lake. So we man the kettles, the red kettles during the holiday season.
Okay, that's CRS.
Yes, that is CRS. So from Thanksgiving through Christmas Day, we have to come up with volunteers. And we always do Giant Eagle in Avon Lake. And this year we're adding the new Hobby Lobby in Avon.
Oh, that's great.
So if anybody is interested in volunteering, the sign-up sheet will be on our website sometime at the end of October, beginning of November.
Understand. Do you accept young volunteers?
Sure. We like them to be no younger than maybe 9 or 10 years old. But if they are under 16, between 10 and 16, they need to be with a parent. Now, if there's a little one, ringing the bell with their parents up Giant Eagle, that's fine. But in the pantry, we like them to be 10 years old or so.
What are your funding sources? How do you provide for your activities?
So we receive very generous support from private foundation grants, local organizations, schools, churches. We receive very generous grants from both the City of Avon and the City of Avon Lake, as well as from many, many individual donors. We are one of our newer supporters is the Meijer store. So
one just opened up.
Yes. So they're just amazing. So since they opened their Avon store back in May of 2019, they have given us over $25,000 in food-only gift cards that we take to their store and purchase things to help keep our pantry well stocked.
that's
So
wonderful.
that's another volunteer that we have, is we actually have a volunteer who goes to Meijer once a week. We're going to actually increase that to 2 times a week just to buy perishable items. And oh my gosh, our clients just love when they call and they are read a list of items that we have in our refrigerator or freezer, like milk, eggs, cheese, lunch meat, yogurt, cream
All those
cheese, butter, all
perishables.
those things that we don't normally keep in our pantry. We're also well supported by some pretty awesome organizations or like third-party fundraisers, if you will. The biggest one is our Hooks for Hunger event that just a group of fishermen started, I think, back in 2013, and they've raised over $145,000 in the 8 or 9 years that they've been having that walleye tournament. This year, I'm trying to $34,500. There's a big, gigantic check over there on the wall. But we also have a few fundraisers too that help us with our funding.
Okay. Well, tell us about the fundraising events.
All right. So our
the Charity
biggest,
Ball.
yes, the biggest event is the annual Charity Ball. The Charity Ball, as a matter of fact, we'll be having our 33rd annual Charity Ball January of 2022.
Right.
It's a formal event, sit-down dinner, music and dancing, auction items, raffles, all kinds of different ways to support CRS. And it's really turned into a quite a fun event. I mean, I think that people look forward to it. And we're very disappointed that we didn't have it last year.
Understand.
But it's just a really fun event. So we also, and typically have about 400 guests come to the Charity Ball. So it's very
And
well
where is
attended.
it held?
Well, we are having to find a new location this year.
Okay.
And it looks like we're going to be having it at the shipyard.
Oh, okay.
We haven't signed any contracts yet, but we're in talks with them, and we're just trying to iron out the details.
It's a really nice location,
We're
yeah.
very, very excited to bring it back to Lorain County, and support, sort of give back to a local business as well.
Okay.
Our other big fundraiser that we just had a couple weeks ago is the Super Bowl food drive. And the Super Bowl is a friendly competition between the communities of Avon and Avon Lake to see which community can raise or collect the most food.
Okay.
And the coveted Super Bowl trophy is awarded at the halftime of the Avon versus Avon Lake football game. Since its inception in 2010, the Super Bowl food drive has raised more than $134,000 and almost 70,000 pounds of food.
Okay. Who won this year?
This year, Avon won.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Avon won. But what I like to say is that the real winner was CRS.
All right. Okay. Always the winner.
Yes,
regardless.
absolutely. Truly.
Okay. How can Avon Lakers support CRS efforts?
Well, I mean, let me just start by saying we are so incredibly grateful for all the support that we receive, no matter what it is. But the biggest way that someone can support us is just with in-kind donations. Food or cleaning supplies or toiletries that go straight to our food pantry. And we accept donations anytime during our regular business hours. Of course, monetary donations in any amount is greatly appreciated too. Unfortunately, we don't accept clothing or household items. I mean, we just don't have the space here to keep that kind of stuff. But we partner with Good Neighbor Thrift Shop.
Okay.
And the Salvation Army store in Avon, and we will send our clients there with vouchers where we'll pay for their purchases. So that's where we normally would refer people to if they call asking where they could donate that kind of stuff.
This other material. Pam, you mentioned something about the food pantry that CRS has. Could you describe that for us?
Sure. Well, actually, Rudy, we are standing in the food pantry right now, and as you can see, it is very well organized. So our volunteers, we have volunteers in almost every day of the week, and they pride themselves on how organized this food pantry is.
I can
all of
see
the
that.
vegetables are there, and the fruit and the cereal, and it also makes it very easy to see what we're low on. And as I mentioned, if someone wants to do a food drive, a lot of times we'll come back in the pantry and say, okay, what are we low on? For example, a couple weeks ago, someone called up and said, what can we bring you? And we suggested snack foods. And because our snack food section was completely bare. But the other volunteers that we have working in the pantry, they actually pack the grocery bags for our clients that come pick them up. And they pack them with sort of a generic amount of food based on the number of people in the family.
Understand.
And then our clients can go through the bag and leave behind what they won't use and take what they will.
Brussels sprouts. They might leave that
Exactly.
behind.
I love Brussels sprouts, so I would take those. But yes, so it's a very well-oiled machine. And again, we had to change things up a little bit because of COVID, but we still deliver the services, especially the food pantry, just like we always have.
Understand. And you have a kind of a back door for delivery?
Yes, so we moved to this location, I think in May of 2018, and one of the nicest things about this facility, besides the size of this food pantry, which just grew exponentially over the last place, is we now have a storage area in the back. So it has a garage door where we can receive all of our donations, not just from individuals, but sometimes when Second Harvest brings a donation, it's usually a big donation, and we can keep it in that back storage area until it's processed and shelved. But it's an awesome area back there.
Okay, well, tell us about Amazon Smile website and the workplace giving program.
Sure. So Amazon Smile is a really cool program. It's just a way that Amazon gives back to local charities. And so it's run through their regular Amazon website. The difference is that instead of logging into Amazon.com, you would log into smile.amazon.com.
Okay.
Same product, same prices, same login information. So you would put in your same password, and they will give a donation back to whatever charity you select. So you have to select a charity. They'll donate 0.5% back to your selected charity for any of the purchases.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it is. And then, the workplace giving program, I mean, there's lots and lots of companies that have matching programs. And, if you work for a company that you think might have a matching program, I would just suggest that you contact your HR department and see if they have a matching program.
Tell us about donating to the pantry and organizing a food drive.
Sure. Yeah. So again, we will accept any perishable food items into the pantry. I mean, we love it when people sort through their food first and don't donate things that are expired. Paper goods, toiletries, cleaning supplies, again, those are things that are not covered by food stamps. So, we really encourage those kinds of donations. If you would like to have if anybody would like to have a food drive, I would suggest that you call our office and talk to the pantry manager. She can give you a better idea what we need at that time. We try to keep our website updated on what our current needs are. But, some of the staples are peanut butter and jelly, hearty soups, spaghetti sauce and pasta, those kinds of things that can be a real meal.
Well, what's the telephone number here for that kind of a thing?
440-933-5639.
Okay. Tell us about your online resource guide for referrals.
Sure. So on our website, we have a page that it's a resource guide. And there's just so many amazing organizations that do different things than what we do. So we are just trying to provide just an ongoing list of resources that are available out in the community.
Kind of networking.
Exactly. Yes, very much.
Tell us about the John Shook Award.
Yeah.
He's a very special
Yes,
person.
he is. So the John Shook Community Service Award. It pays tribute to a very special friend of many, but of CRS, who passed away unexpectedly in 2018. John touched the lives of a lot of people in this community because he was so involved in community service with a lot of different organizations. In John's memory, the CRS Board of Directors created this award to be given annually to either an individual or an organization that really embodies John's commitment to volunteerism and community service. And as a matter of fact, we are currently accepting nominations for the John T. Shook Award.
And that's right on your website.
That all the information's on our website. The nomination form is there. The deadline for applications is November 1st of 2021, and the recipient, who is chosen by a committee made up of people both within CRS and outside of CRS, that they will be announced at the annual charity ball on January 29th, 2022.
Right. Now, what's your website address?
Sure. It is aalcrs.org. So it's sort of the acronym for Avon Lake Community Resource Services.
Understand. Does CRS have a newsletter?
Yes, we do. And you can sign up for our newsletter at our website as well. And we really only send it out about once a month, unless there's like some fun stuff going on, and then we might send it out a couple times a month, but we won't bombard your inbox.
Oh, okay. What are the future plans for CRS?
Mm-hmm. So we are really, really excited about a recently established new program that we're doing for our clients. And it's called the Client Personal Development Program, and it's designed to encourage and support self-sufficiency. To reinforce that commitment to the program, the CRS staff is going to be participating in motivational interviewing training. So motivational interviewing training, and it's going to be conducted by a consultant out of Case Western Reserve who is with the Center for Evidence-Based Practices at Case. He's going to be training the staff on how to break down the barriers of what is holding someone back from realizing their goals. So we are going to learn techniques on how to have conversations with our clients, at a deeper level. So much of the time our clients call and they just need an emergency resolved. And we do that, and we do that very well. But this is going to be an opportunity for us to dig a little deeper, find out why they're having problems. Are there programs that we can pay for or scholarship them to that can help them move forward in life? Additionally, as part of this program, we just hired a new staff member, and her title is going to be the Client Personal Development Coordinator. She'll act more as a long-term caseworker. So the other client coordinators might talk to someone on the phone, solve their problem, and then realize that, maybe there was an action item that needs to be followed up on. And in the past, we just haven't had the time to do that kind of follow-up. They will actually fill out a referral form, give it to this new staff member, who will follow up with that person and really establish a better relationship or a more ongoing relationship so that she can figure out where we can be more helpful to them rather than just solving their emergency crisis.
Right, for the long term.
Exactly.
You can help with training so that people can be self-sufficient.
Right. Yes.
And I think that really improves the feelings that the client has.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And some of those programs, topics might include financial literacy or job skills, retraining, health and wellness. We're even going to have programs for students that might be, the ability to go to a class to learn how to be certified for a lifeguard or babysitter or an internship, or even just the extracurricular summer mini camps. Some of our clients, those just aren't things that normally they would have the opportunity to participate in. And, you know, the definition of basic needs, I think, is expanding. Basic needs is more than just paying someone's electric bill. Yes, is that the most important thing? Of course, because we want our clients to have
Right,
a
right.
roof over their head and heat
Need
in the
that.
wintertime. But for these kids and these families to really have any chance of moving out of poverty, they need to have more experiences and opportunities that other people do. And that's what this program is all about.
Okay, it's the old adage, you give people fish when they need to eat, and then you teach them how to fish so that they can provide for themselves.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Okay, and the question I always ask towards the end of the interview is, in your opinion, what's making sense and what doesn't?
So I think that community resource services, just generally speaking, makes a lot of sense. I mean, we are providing a very, very valuable service to the residents of Avon and Avon Lake who are struggling. You know, at any given time, anyone can find themselves in a situation where they need help.
True.
And, you know, it takes courage to ask for help. And it takes strength to ask for help. And that's why we're here. You know, people lose their jobs, again, have a financial emergency, a car repair, or something like that. It could be a senior citizen living on fixed income, or it could be, you know, a single parent working a minimum wage job, just struggling to make ends meet. And that one expense can really be devastating. You know, so we're often the first call for help. And I have a staff of the most thoughtful and compassionate women. And, you know, even though, you know, solving their financial crisis is very important, equally important is having those conversations with them, being a shoulder to cry on, just listening. And, you know, again, these women are very compassionate and thoughtful and confidential, and they're the right person to be on the other end of that phone call.
Understand, and your approach of education and training, I think, is a real improvement on some of the other approaches that have been taken.
I agree.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have any comments or questions, there's going to be email addresses on the bottom of the screen that you can use. If you are interested in appearing on the show, or you know someone who's interesting who would like to be on the show, please send us their contact information. Just remember, seatbelts save lives. Thank you for watching.
The preceding program was presented to you by a community producer. The statements, views, and opinions expressed were not necessarily those of ALC TV or the City of Avon Lake.